Greetings, everyone. Dr. Annette West, Publishing Pusher here. Thanks for joining me in the JetNay Publishing, talking all things books. Yes, the operative words, all things. I'm excited you're here. You listen in, share your thoughts. You don't have to be live on the screen to be able to talk. And I want you to know your success is my business. I'm here to assist you, support, empower, inspire as we pull out those thoughts to get these books accomplished. Thanks again for joining me. Well, good morning, everyone. It's another beautiful week. I appreciate you joining me in talking all things books. I have Miss Anna Roseborough. She is the Coach Up podcast, new in doing that. So make sure you join and check out her podcast, Anna's Coach Up podcast, to see what's going on there. I also have Dr. Annette Publishing Pusher podcast, and I'm also on Jerry Royce Live Network, where that podcast is just Publishing Pusher. These Talking All Things Books sessions are being integrated into the Publishing Pusher podcast. So we are definitely taking our content and repurposing it, which is what we should be doing. I want to say it is a beautiful day in my neighborhood, and I hope it is in your neighborhood as well. I am so excited about so many things. I think I've told you that we are on the 5th book in our Centered in Christ series. So that is exciting. It seems like these 6 years of writing, working with the Centered in Christ has just kind of flowed so fast. But I thank God. I already have the topic for the next book. It will not be a group of devotions this time. It will actually be an anthology of very short stories, and we will be coming from the Beatitudes. So we will have a lot fewer writers in this particular book, but I am excited about it. I believe there's 9 writers. I would include myself, so there would only be 8 writers that can jump on, and I will actually be sending private invites to people that have been laid on my heart as first consideration to write in it. Miss Anna loves her poetry, so we may be interjecting poetry in it. We will see how that flows, but I'm excited. I was actually working on one of my books last night, and as I was traveling, I was working on, I have a 2-part book set that is going to be coming out. The first title is called Purposeful Prosperity, and the second title is called Beyond Prosperity. So I was working on the first, I worked on both of them, but I was spending a lot extra time yesterday in my flight, pulled them up and worked on them while I was on the plane for 2 hours and on 3 hours. So I got a lot of writing done yesterday. Even worked on one of my newer clients' manuscripts yesterday. I'm excited that when she came to me, she had about 4,500 words, and I've gotten it up to about 5,900 words, where I've considered some things that she can add to it to build it. So I am putting those things together, giving her an example of possibilities for her book. And my goal is to get it to at least 80 pages. So it is coming along. I've gotten it to, I want to say 60 pages in a 6x9. I may minimize that size just a little bit, but we will see. This is the joy of working with clients and trying to pull their content together. When they pay you to do it, you have to sometimes think out of the box to help them to get where you think is best for them for the investment that they are putting into it. So that's just a little bit of what we're doing. I'm excited. I have two other authors. One has some health issues right now, so we want to pray for that author that we can get them back on track before they no longer have access to me. And then my other author, we have her on point that between May and June, her book should be finished. And I'm not taking too many clients because I have so many other things going on. But I said if I can do 3 books a year, I'm good. If more happen to fall in that just means I'll have to reach out to more people to support the effort. But that's what we do. I have Miss Anna here with me today, and she has been a great blessing to many of the projects. She has a wealth and depth and breadth of information that she has gained through the years that helps her to assist others, including myself. I am a publisher, but I'm not the publisher that does everything. I may know everything that needs to be done, but I'm not trying to do everything. So it's good to be connected to people. You always want to know people that know more than you know, okay? You want to know people that can, even if you know it, they can do more than you can do, because that's how you expand what it is that God has poured into your hands to do. What say you, Miss Anna?
I agree with that entirely. And it's not so much that we don't know, but we know we don't know. And as we gain insight into what can be done, we realize we only have a certain amount of time. And if we collaborate and if we barter, we are able to get more done across the whole spectrum of publishing, writing, and supporting others in this particular ministry of getting the message out. Uh,
That's what it's about.
well, some people know that this week was World Book Day. Tuesday, I think it was the 9th or whatever. Uh, one day this week, uh, one of the interviewers of Quip's Corner chose to interview me. She tends to interview ahead of time and then spends the time mastering the piece. And so sometimes I forget that though I was interviewed before Christmas, it wasn't going to show until now. But she interviewed me about a book that became the inspiration for a collection of stories. My book was called On Zion's Hill, and that happens to be the place where I met my husband. It's the campgrounds in
It's a
Western
good story. I
Pennsylvania.
read it, Miss Anna. It's a good
Okay,
book.
all right. Well, when my sister read it, when she got to the section where I called a couple that had met on Zion's Hill and later married, I called them the sweethearts of Zion's Hill. And she says, I'm sure there are other people. This campground's been around for 100 years. There are other people who have done it. Let's see if we can do an anthology for the centennial. And so she put out a call, and we got 30 people who told their story. And now, with the 110th anniversary coming up in 2016, she said, well, let's do a volume 2. I said, not this time. Let's see if we can get another generation to do it. And so we put out a call, and that's coming in too. So collaboration is a great thing. Sometimes you've got to pass the baton to somebody else.
That's right. So make sure you got a nice sturdy baton that you can pass to the next person. Miss Anna, I need to step away from the screen for a few moments. So if you will, however led, share with us.
Oh, okay. Well, again, that you see the sign behind me, and it says keeping them on stream. One of the things that has come up as a result of my time with authoring books and publishing Pusher and all of the things that Dr. Annette has had is meeting Jerry with Jerry Royce Live. And he's recommended that I use some of his platforms to get some of my books sold. And so, as a retired educator, I was thinking of some of the reasons that students come back to us in the fall, having forgotten many of the specifics that they were taught in the past year. And so I decided to collaborate with another pastor. I'm not a pastor, she is, to have a series over the summer of podcasts that we're calling Keeping Them on Stream. And since Dr. West asked me to share with you, I'm going to share the screen and show you a little bit of what we're doing and how it's going to work. And of course, I'll ask you to join with us. Um, this one is a series of podcasts that we are going to be offering over 6 weeks during the summer. And as I mentioned, we call it Keeping Them on Stream. And I know what stream means because I used it in the Rainbow Reminders book, but a lot of people didn't. And so we had to be able to tell them what it means. And so, what's the stream? In this case, it's an acronym that takes into consideration the topics that most students, grades 1 through 12, study. S is for science and social studies. T is for technology. Though the young people, the students may not be learning technology, almost all students use technology in some way or another. And being able to use that technology efficiently sometimes is the key to them passing those statewide tests when they are given on tablets and laptops that students aren't familiar with. And so keeping familiar with the technology is one of the things that we're going to be asking students to do as we attempt to keep them on stream. The R is religion and cultures. Because we are offering this to students across the country, and not necessarily through religious schools or churches, I'm still including religion because almost every family is impacted by it in one way or another. And in many families, this is one of the things that they are taught. But many of the cultures that the families experience influences how they understand what they're being taught. And so the R for stream is going to be for religion and cultures. The E, of course, is English. And this is a place for them to use their reading, their writing, their speaking, and even their multimedia skills and getting the message out. The A is for arts and athletics. And one of the ways we're using art is with my book. The lessons will be based on a book that I'll share with you in just a few minutes. It's called Experience Poems and Pictures. And in that case, we invite students to look at pictures and connect them to what they've studied in the past school year. But the athletics comes into play as well because some of the pictures in the book are of athletes. And when we consider even looking at the stream on the picture I have, what kind of athletics and physical skills would one need to be able to ascend this walkway? And the M. The M is for music and math. And occasionally we invite them to consider music that they know in terms of what they've studied in the past and ask them to use what they know about math. And the major purpose for keeping them on stream, one of them is to sell my book. And for less than $5 a week per learner, they can do it because one book only costs $20. And if you think about it, if they're using one book for 6 weeks, that's less than $5 a week. And so we'll be reading, writing, and thinking and creating prompts for students grades 1 through 12 based on this one book. And we can do it with poems and pictures. And to get things kicked off, we're having a Zoom meeting on April 22nd between 7 and 8 p.m. It's an interactive session where we're inviting pastors, teachers, parents, caretakers, everyone who will be involved with young people grades who have just completed grades 1 through 12 to join us. And in this interactive session, we're going to invite those there to do some of the activities to experience for themselves what kind of links students will be asked to consider using what they learned this past school year in science and social studies, technology, religion and cultures, English, arts and athletics, music and math. With only 30 minutes a week, most content areas will be addressed most weeks, but students will be asked to think every week. And so on that April 22nd online meeting, we're asking them to come join us. And I'll ask you to do the same. As we consider some of the things that Dr. West shares with us, perhaps the most important is that of getting our work written and then getting it right. And some of the ways that we encourage our authors to expand what they've written, not to get more words, but to get the message out more clearly, is something that we'll be sharing during the summer with our young people. We keep calling them the 5 W's and H. And as we work with our authors, we said one of the ways that you can show and not just tell what is going on is by adding information that helps the reader understand a little bit more about who is it that you're writing about? How can you show us this person in action rather than just telling us what they have done? When and where do the activities take place? If you're writing nonfiction, you generally have a place that you are asking us to put into practice what you're teaching. When and where would we do that? Another one is, what's the issue? What's the problem that your book will help us solve? If you're writing fiction, what's the conflict? Some of you may recall from your days in middle school, high school, and even college that fiction is a story of someone who wants something, but something gets in the way. What is that something? And the rest of the story is that attempt to solve that problem. And you may recall again from school that there is usually an arc or an incline that reveals a series of attempts to solve the problem. And just as scripture tends to use the number 3, we tend to use it in our writing as well. What are 3 attempts that the character makes to solve the problem? Generally, they try to solve it themselves, but that doesn't work. Then they call on their friends. But that doesn't always work either because they have to decide which friend to call on. And this is a way of fleshing out your story as you tell us more about the people in this person's circle. Often there's what we call internal conflict. And this is where the character is striving to utilize something that they know, some personal, psychological, intellectual skills that come from within. And as they do that struggle, many of you who write Christian work bring in the power of the Holy Spirit. How does one call on the skills that one has, the friends in one's circle, to solve the problem? That's 3 of the 5 W's. Well, 4. Who, what, when, where. The other one is why. Why is this person being motivated to do what he or she is doing? That motivation, again, can be revealed in our nonfiction as well. Many of the writers who come to me are writing memoirs. Something specific happened in their lives that they want to share. And I ask them, one, why do you want to share it? Why should I read it? And equally, how does this story show something important that I should know? And I know that Dr. West is back, and I should stop talking. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, only if you finish talking, Miss Anna.
Well, you've been with me a long time. I don't finish, I stop.
Well, thank you so much for sharing what's going on in your, a little minute bit of what's going on in your project world. I meant to ask you, did you see the email? I mean, the email this morning that we were going to have the session? Did you check
That,
your email?
I,
Is
have a session with whom?
no. The Talking All Things books. Did you see an email for it this morning?
About 2 minutes before I went online, I went back
Really?
online to check. It did come.
Okay. Because I had
Yes.
set it for 10. So maybe I need to set it for 9. I don't know.
Oh no, no. It's when I look at the phone is when I get the message. And so I did get it, and I do appreciate you giving me the heads up. That gave me time to put put the slide up so that when you had to step away, I could show one of the slides. And that's one of the things we've done. Again, Dr. West and Jerry Royce suggested that I create an online group just for this. And we're calling it uh, Planning with Purpose to Empower Learners. And we invited many of you that we have your information about to join it. But one of the things we're going to do is offer that as a space for parents to share the work that their students, their learners are doing over the summer. So they may just be taking a picture of the writing of a first grader. They
Mm,
may just be writing words, and they may show a picture of one of the middle schoolers writing a poem or saying the poem, because we're asking them to use some of their multimedia learning as well. And so with this expanded platform, it's expanded work.
mm.
And thankfully, when I started this, I contacted one of the artists whose work is in the book, who is the mother of 4 children. The youngest is not quite a year, the oldest is 14. And so
Wow.
she's had experience with the younger students. And she got all excited about being a part of it. And so uh, Pastor Rachel Galarno, an artist and mother, will be joining me many of the weeks, sharing ideas for applying these strategies for parents of younger students.
Nice. Sounds like a great project. Miss Anna always got some kind of project she working on, y'all. And the good thing is she doesn't mind telling people about it. You know, sometimes people be doing this stuff and like nobody knows about it. So if people don't show up for it, it's not because she's not putting out the information, okay? I will say that much. But thank you, Miss Anna. Well, we still have about 20, 15, 16, 17 minutes, something like that. I wanted to share a little bit. We didn't have much time last week because we had such great comments being shared. Um, that I think we only spent maybe 10 minutes talking about detailed book launch insights. So we may be adding a little bit of that as the weeks go along. But last week, just in a nutshell, I mentioned the pre-launch phase because before you launch, you want to prepare some things in advance. So I talked about the pre-launch. That's where you begin to build your momentum. That's where you begin to clarify your goals for your audience, what your purpose for your book is, who your ideal reader is, what type of metrics you're going to be using to get your information out, And of course, I mentioned doing an action step, writing a one-page paragraph describing who your ideal audience is. You will have that as you go through. Today, I want to mention real quickly about creating a launch timeline. When you think about your book, you should have an idea of when you want to have it completed and launch, when you want it published and launched. Many people are working on their books 6 months, 9 months, 12 months before that book is ever out and able to get into people's hands. So if you create a launch timetable, which is just a well-structured timeline, it should help you towards a smoother launch. So I would give these steps about three to 6 months before you're ready to launch your book. Start building your audience. You may already have some people that are following you, but what is the purpose of completing a book and having nobody that you know that you can let them know about what you have done? So we want to start this. Good morning. Hi, Janice Burton. We want to start this process early. So 3 to 6 months before you're going to launch your book, start building your audience. Set up your social media and your email list. I say email list because depending on what your project is this time, it may not be the same email list. Some of those people might be a fit, but some of those people may not be a fit. Now, you may choose to keep them all on the list, but make sure you give them the opportunity to deselect themselves from the process. In your subject line, or right after they begin reading, it may say, if you are not interested in this or further information on this, please reply with this word. And then you take them off of your list. And we know that when we get a lot of emails, we want to be able to do what? Unsubscribe to a whole lot of stuff that is coming in. So we don't take any offense or hard feelings or anything because somebody said, take me off the list. So this is 3 to 6 months before you launch. Then at 2 to 3 months before you launch, you should have announced your book. Hopefully you have some people that you're working with and you can recruit or begin to recruit a launch team that can help you in your efforts and set up your pre-orders. Now, some people set up their pre-orders 6 months in advance. I don't do that because I don't want to put my money out there and have to wait 6 months for it. But if you tell me 2 months, I'm willing to go ahead and pay for that book in advance because I know you're going to give me some incentive, some discount, and so therefore I will do it. What it would be an incentive? We have a new book coming out, which is the 5th book in the series of Centered in Christ. That is a $20 book. But we have told people who want to order it for $20, your shipping and handling will be included in it. So that's an incentive for people. And you're going to get a signed copy. Some people just want your signature. They want to be able to say, because you might make it boom, boom, big, big one day. And they say, I remember her. I remember when I got this. Look, I got this book right here. This was fresh off the press. So we want to make sure that we are doing our 3 to 6 months before launch, 2 to 3 months before launch, announcing your book, recruiting your launch team, setting up your pre-orders. A month before you launch, send out ARCs if you're going to, which are advanced reader copies. And those copies will go out for reviews and begin to put your promotional content out. Begin to market your book even harder. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't do the work, it's not going to happen. Go ahead, Miss Anna.
One of the things that you're mentioning, not so much for pre-launch, but for post-launch, some of you who publish with Amazon found out that audiobooks are being offered for free. And that's one of the things I did this week. But it has to be reflowable. It cannot be the one the easy one. but with the Kindle Create now, it's not as difficult. It has to be uploaded as a Word document versus a PDF. But for those who have books out already and you don't have time to do the audio yourself, Amazon's going to get the money anyway, so might as well get what they're going to give us. So follow up, get that audio book out, and there's a pretty decent number of voices to choose, male, female, particular age, but pre-launch, but also consider post-launch. Thank
There
you.
you go. And I have several books out already, as does Miss Anna. So this would be a wonderful time to get those audio books accomplished. Yes. So 1 month before you launch, send out advanced reader copies so you can already have reviews in the system. Okay. And talk more about promotions that you are offering. And then launch week, host, get on people's podcasts that week. So that means you have to have done some pre-work and get yourself set up. You watch TV and you watch the news. When a movie star or an artist or something has a new book, what do? You see them on Good Morning America. You see them on CNN. You see them on this. All of them. Some of them, one day you see them on 2 different places, but all that week, you see them on all of these platforms. So guess what? You may not be on those platforms, but you can get on other people's platforms that are at your level or just above your level. And guess what? You will have those interviews that you can share on your own website as a part of your marketing and your branding. So we need to get ourselves out. We need to get maximum visibility. We have to push for reviews, and we have to push for interviews. It's very rarely that somebody just says, "Hey, can you be on my show?" Sometimes, and there are some great lists. I know Mel Beast has a great list of people who have podcasts, and you can connect with people. That is Written Word Publishing. You can go to Written Word Publishing and ask for it. It's free. And you can see what their expectations are for the different interviews. And then you can get yourself set up for interviews. Now, the only thing I'm going to say is you want to make sure that when you are doing this, that the ones that you are connecting to actually will publish your interview that week or within a week or two. Not doing it in December and it doesn't go on live until April, okay? Because you don't want relevant content to be old now. So something that we need to be very mindful of. And then we need to make sure that we're taking action step. What is an action step? Make sure that you have a calendar with all of your information written in it. What are your key book marketing tasks that you need to do up to the launch? What days and times are you committed to these interviews so that you don't miss anything? If you don't do it, it's not going to be done. Any comments? Go ahead, Miss Anna.
I do have the one about doing the interviews ahead of time. If we have the timeline that you have suggested here, and the person who interviews us has a specific event coming up on which our book would be a good piece to have, sometimes doing it ahead of time before you get all wound up may work. In this case, Ada has a year-round podcast. And so certain events, she's an international, she's from, she lives in Canada now, but she has an international audience. So she does a lot of international things. And so she says, I've got such and such a thing coming up. Would you be on to talk about your book? So as you were talking with Melvise and others who do this, and Jerry Royce, if they've got something coming up that your book would be good for, go ahead and do it. That's a second reason to do it. You're talking about having them come out on the week that your book is coming out, but you may want to have some follow up on it. And if In fact, the first time on Ada was she was doing something for Grandparents' Day and wanted to know. She just put out a call. Anybody do any writing about their grandparents? And in that book that I was telling you about when Dr. West stepped aside, Experience, Poems, and Pictures, I have 2 or 3 poems in there about my grandmother. And that's how we got connected. And so stay connected in places like this and find out what special events are coming up and answer some of those calls and you'll get called back.
Thank you, Miss Anna. That's good. I think I said welcome, Janice. Welcome, Trinia. If you all have any comments, you are welcome to share them. Okay, great. Good to have you here. Okay, so the third area I want to talk about is building your author platform. You need to have a landing page for people to go to see who you are, what you're talking about, because most people are not going to just purchase your book unless they know you, have heard about you, have been exposed to something that you have going on. So how do you want to connect with your readers? Having that platform is critical. If you go to my jetnaypublishing.org website, you will see on there who I am, what I'm about, what I offer. You will see all the books that I have that has gone through Jetnay Publishing. You will see my podcast link and all of those podcasts right there in one place. So we want to have, there'll be something about my YouTube channel. So we want to have as much content without being overbearing on our website, making it easy for people to get to our pages and see what we have going on. Any comment?
That's the hardest thing to do. In many cases, it sounds like bragging. And we were told not to brag, says let your actions do it. And I come on your show and on others about getting the books, particularly for those of us who self-publish, that we've got to do our own promotion. And that's a challenge for many of us. But if I come here often enough, I get a shot in the arm, a kick in the you know what. And when I get off here, I try some of the things that you suggest. And some of them are paying off. I'm having this opportunity to do this keeping on stream because of connections I made with you.
Yes. And so listen, everybody, I have a S3 model. Segue to what Miss Anna just said. S3 model. It says, if you don't show up, people don't know you exist. If you don't speak out, people don't know what you have to say. And if you don't share it, people don't know what's in your toolbox. Your content is not going to brand and market itself. You are the brand and you must market it. Now, there is a difference in bragging and sharing, okay? there really is a difference. I have been around people who brag till they turn you off. Everything they say is about them. Everything is about them, what they've done. No, that's not what we're talking about. We should be able to have a civilized conversation, chat with somebody that they're going to ask us about what it is we do and how we do it and tell us about that. That is sharing. That is not bragging. Okay. So we have to be the voice for what God has given to us. If we don't put our voices out, then our voice will not be heard. And God does not have us developing all of these resources and content for them to sit on the shelf. So that means we got to get out and we have to share it. So build your author platform, have a landing page where people come. You can have a dedicated book page on there. You can have blurbs on there. You can have reviews on there. You can have different purchase links on there for different things. And then what's your social media strategy? Listen, you can't be on every platform unless you're paying somebody to help you in your efforts, okay? It's not going to happen. So you can't be the best on Facebook, be the best on Instagram, be the best on Clubhouse, be the best on Wisdom, be the best on LinkedIn. You cannot be the best on all of those when it's only you. You cannot. So you have to choose a couple of those platforms and then work and process and market and bring yourself on those. After a period of time, if you see that there's not movement, then guess what? Move from one of those to something else. That's what a wise person does. Now, for me personally, I'm on several platforms, but those platforms are not generating my resources. I'm just letting people know what I have. The majority of what I sell and what people invest in is because I am sharing up on the screen and I am audibly saying something and people are gravitating to me. So people purchase directly from me. At them, I am on um I want to say Ingram Sparks, but I don't sell books on Ingram Sparks. I'm on Facebook, but I don't sell books on Facebook. That's not where I sell my books. I sell my books directly to my customers. So you have to know, how are you selling your books? And if you want to sell your books on Ingram Sparks and on Facebook, and on not Kindle, Amazon, you got to know you're going to have to invest some resources. You got to have some financial resources. I'm not investing any financial resources in this season for those things because I'm really vested in my clients, the people that I am doing their books for them, the people that are part of my collaborations, the people that are a part of my self-publishing programs. Those are the people that my priority, my investment, who invested in me, that's where my priority is. So I'm not concerned with investing money on those other platforms, but they're available so that if someone who is not connected to me hears about my book and they want the book today, tomorrow, they can go to those platforms and get it. So we have to make ourselves available on these platforms. Miss Andy, you have a final comment before we end?
I get my final comment is the same one that I do each week. Keep coming, but keep knowing you're going to hear something you're going to want to try. And so continue to share with us those people who have resources that we can, I would say, I don't like the word use, but we can learn from, so that when it's time for us to share, we may not be using that particular service, but we know about it and we can say, well, you can check with Melvise about this, or Jerry Royce about that. So keep coming, keep sharing, and let's keep them on stream.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in our Talking All Things Books. Miss Anna, Janice, for hanging out with us today. I appreciate you greatly. As we end, I like to say, remember, you are blessed to be a blessing. And if you serve King Jesus like I do, then you are supposed to be the visible manifestation of his invisible presence. And I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.